I'm Tinny from Mini Bowl Design, and today on Mini Bowl Design, I'm going to show you the finer points of making a Bongo Pro bass. There's a lot more to it than meets the eye, so let me get in here and get in a chair and get right up close, because this camera I found works really good right up close. And I'm going to point out all the ins and outs of a Bongo Pro bass. That's one of the more complicated basses I make. So let's get started. Okay, first off, you have targets when you go to build something like this. And one of the targets is you want to keep it as light as possible. That having been said, you can get in trouble doing that, because if you make it too light, then it's not going to be durable. So you've got to find the sweet spot between durable and light. It's kind of a Goldilocks thing. Too big, too small, you know. Anyway, when it comes to this, I know it looks like right here, when you first look at it, this piece right here looks like, wow, that's a big chunk of aluminum. You could have got rid of a lot of that. Well, okay, let's take a look at that. If you turn it upside down, you see that there's this notch in here with a nipple in it. And if you see where that notch is, and you follow this big chunky thing in over to this hole right here, and you look at it, you'll notice that, yeah, this is kind of going in at an angle, and this notch is going in at an angle, and you'll find out if you take one of these and put it in the lathe and mill it down, turn it down, you'll find out that the tip of this rod, or the bottom of this hole, is only about 20 thousandths away from the inside of that. So if I made it any further over, if I made this any further over, to save weight, I'd ruin it, because I'd punch through into this channel here and it would leak. And that's no good. Now you've got nothing. And if you go over to the other side, over here, and you look at it, you'll find out that when you get to the back corner in here, I'm trying to do this, you get into that back corner there, and then look in here, you'll see that actually there's only about 20 or 30 thousandths there from that back corner. So you just can't take any more out of there and have this slot in there. That's about as close as you can get. I set this up on the rotary table, jig it up, and I put it in upside down, and I bring the cutting tool right over as close as I dare to this side. And then I crank back to 285, 280, and get as close as I dare on this side. Then I take it out, flip it over, re-index it, and now I know that when that tool goes in, it's going to be the same distance here and here. So there's a lot of math to this. Okay, now it's the same way with each one of these segments. Although they look fairly thick and say, well, he could mill a lot more out of there. You got to realize that the hole for this doesn't go, you can see it doesn't go straight down. It goes in. And as it goes in, the further in it goes, the closer it gets to this edge here. So once again, it's about 20 thousandths, 4 sheets of paper from the bottom of that hole to that segment. So can't take any more there. Now, if you look here, this shoulder here, I've got to have a shoulder here for the silicone to index on, a little bit. And I've got to have a shoulder here that's that's durable. It has to be able to be thrown around the pack, and you could be able to drop it on if you're on a granite face and you drop it, you don't want that to dent in. That's got to be rugged. So there's a happy medium between the thickness of this and the thickness of this. And you can go to different bit sizes and you can go back and forth. And this to me is a happy medium. Now, also you have this hole in the middle. You want to get it as deep as possible, but you don't want to go so deep that if you put force on it, it's going to collapse. So I do the center hole right in the milling machine with a 3/4 inch bit. And I have that depth all preset, so I know exactly how deep it is. And that floor is about 30 thousandths. I found that that's about as far as you want to go. Any more than that, and just the pressure of the mill and different things will start distorting the bottom, and you hold it up to the light and look at it, and you'll be able to see where it's been stressed a little bit, and it'll bell a little bit, just from the pressure from the mill, or if you do it with a lathe from the cutting tool. And the trench, the floor, the thickness of the floor for the trench is the same way. You want to get too deep, or when you hold it up to light, you can see that it'll bulge a little bit and upset the metal, and you'll actually see where the trench is milled from. And you don't want to do that because that's not durable, and it doesn't look good, and it won't set flat. Now, I was serrating these bottoms, just going in with the tool, but that takes meat, so I had to make the bottoms thicker in order to do that. The idea is it gives you a little traction so it doesn't slide around as much. But I don't think that's a problem, so I haven't been doing that anymore. I think I'm better off to leave that off and make the floor thinner, which makes the whole thing lighter. And that's about maybe 10% of what's actually involved in making one of these over and over and over again and having them come out so correctly. Very, very seldom do I lose one of these while milling it. When I started out, believe it or not, honest, no kidding aside, when I started out, if I did 10 of these, I might get 2 that I'd keep. The other 8 I'd ruin. And I got to the point where when I got to the 50-50 mark, I thought, I'm getting good. Over the years, I've gotten it now, so it's almost always 100%. I very, very seldom, unless something breaks, if a tool breaks or an adjustment slips or something like that, or I'm just daydreaming, I might lose one, but it's not common. And I don't make 10 to a time because after about 5, you start getting punch drunk and you start making mistakes. And you really got to be paying attention. When you come up to this line here, you better be paying attention. And there's all kinds of coolant, chips, and everything. You got to be watching the degrees on your rotary table, and there's water running down over that coolant, chips flying all over the place. You want to be paying attention. So I usually only do 5 or 6. If I'm having a real good day, I might do 8 to a time. But usually, quite often, only 4. And that's a story on the Bongo Pro bass. I'm Timmy from Maple Design. Try to have a really great day and try to have some fun today. You deserve it. Bye-bye.